These are the top 5 Prime Day Early Access mechanical keyboard deals. If at any point during the video you want to check out any of the 5 deals in this video, there's an Amazon link below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links, but let's jump into that number 5 spot. And that is the YUNZII Kinovo IF98, typically retailing for $129, now is 20% off for $103.20. Now that deal is not only in just one colorway, but it's actually in 2 colorways. You can get it in this awesome green colorway and then the awesome white colorway. Both of them have that very cool wave insert on that top right corner, which looks so cool. Now this is a keyboard that I really like. I modded it slightly and it sounds incredibly good. Do keep in mind this is the most expensive board even with the deal on the list, so don't worry if you want more budget mechanical keyboards, they're coming up, just wait. But out of the box it's got great keycaps. This is a great board that if you want a, well, kind of like a custom, but you don't have to do a lot to it, but you could if you want to. This is it. You got that weight kind of down there on the bottom. You got nice PBT keycaps, Redragon G Pro switches, so you get that pre-lubed goodness. So out of the box, if you don't want to touch your keyboard, but you want a really premium feeling keyboard, well, this does a great job here. You have the choice between black, brown, blue, red, and even Redragon G Pro yellow switches, which honestly would, well, that would probably be my recommendation if you're into linear switches and you want to do any sort of gaming or anything like that, but you get to choose whatever you want here. The other thing that I will say is probably by, well, the 12th, so not today, these are probably gonna be gone. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of stock. Some of the switches only have like 4 to 5 stock. So I would say if you want to get these, go ahead and get it now because I don't think these are going to stay in stock. This is fully hot swappable, it's gasket mounted, and you get all the RGB goodness that you want, and it looks like a custom. How cool is that? Now, if you guys watch the channel, if you see my review on it, I really liked this keyboard. I thought it was very unique, I thought it was very cool, and with a few mods, it made it sound really good. So again, $129, and with the early access prime deals, it is $103.20. All right, let's move on to the number 4 mechanical keyboard deal for early access deals. And that is the LTC MB681 Nimbleback. This is a great keyboard to get into modding with. I've recommended it to an absolute ton of people that have bought it and been very happy. Typically $54.99, but with early access deals, 20% off to $43.99. Now, if this is a time when you want to get into modding, you want a 65% keyboard, this is an absolutely fantastic one. Less than 50 bucks with the deal, you're getting full hot swap ability. You're getting a choice between red, brown, or blue switches, but obviously get your own switches and slap them in this board because that's what it's made for. You can also get this in white or you can get this in black. This keyboard's got a few really cool things. One of them is a totally removable skirt. So instead of like painting the entire board, if you wanted to change the color of it, you can literally just pop the skirt off, spray paint it outside, slap it back on. Now you got a green, yellow, orange, purple board. I don't care. You can do whatever you want to this thing in literally a few minutes. That is how fast it is to mod this thing. One of the easiest boards to mod, especially when repainting the color of the board, which I have done. Another cool thing this has, this uses a connection with a USB Type-C, but when that USB Type-C is plugged in, you have 2 powered USB Type-A ports. So if you want to plug a mouse into that, if you want to plug your phone to charge, it'll probably charge a little bit slow, but you can plug all your peripherals into the keyboard when it's plugged in, which is just so cool. You also get RGB per key lighting, all the modes you would expect, all the static colors you'd expect. And for $54.99, about 55 bucks, that's that's a good deal. That's a good deal. Right now though, for $43.99, this is a fantastic time to get in, especially if you want to mod this. Many DIY kits cost more than this. This is essentially a DIY kit, but you can use it out of the box. $43.99? Yeah, let's do it. Let's get to modding. But speaking of DIY kits, let's move to number 3, which is the TM680, or branded as the GK68. Now the TM680 is a, well, at this point, it's almost legendary. It's legendary as a fantastic DIY kit to get people into the modding community. So if you want a DIY kit, something that doesn't come with any switches or keycaps, it's just the keyboard itself, and you can go crazy modding it however you want. The TM680 is, well, it's not perfect. It has its flaws, but it is just so fun to mod. So fun to get into, and I have made well, some awesome builds with the TM680. I absolutely recommend it. So with a typical price of $61.99, you typically can get this on AliExpress for about 55 bucks. So that typical price is not the best. However, on Amazon, you don't have to wait very long typically for shipping, but AliExpress, sometimes it's, well, weeks to months. But right now with early access deals, this thing is $55.20, which means it's the exact same price on Amazon as it is on AliExpress, which you might be like, that's not a big deal. This thing is showing that I can order it and get it literally tomorrow. That is awesome. The fact that I could get a TM680 for its actual price coming from China, but it's here tomorrow, is pretty awesome. Now, what do you get for this? You get fully hot swappable sockets, so you can put any switch you want into this, absolutely as you'd expect. You get pretty good stabilizers. I made mine sound pretty dang decent. You get a knob, which is very cool, and you can also get like custom knobs for this and swap them into it, which is very cool. You get foam between the plate and the PCB. You get per key RGB lighting. You also get some RGB lighting on the left side, the right side, and behind it. Now, this RGB lighting on those sections is not incredibly bright. However, the case is the big thing. The case is a nice rigid piece of two plastic parts plus a metal plate. Now, overall, this might seem like that's just a basic DIY kit from China, and that's what it is, but it's built very well, and the overall sound that you can get out of this board is just kind of awesome because you can do so many different sound profiles, have a keyboard that you can just play around with and mod and really get into the community, understand what modding mechanical keyboards are. This is an absolutely great thing for now. What it costs to get it from China, but you can get it tomorrow. $61.99 on Amazon. Now it is $55.20. But let's move on to the number 2 spot. This will not be a surprise to any of you. This is the Akko 3068B Plus, typically retailing for $89.99, which it's almost always at, so about 90 bucks. Now 20% off to $71.99. That is a great time to buy a 3068. One of my most recommended pre-builds of all time for good reason. It's a very solid keyboard. 65% layout, no split design, what a lot of people love. The keycaps are an insane value because these are Akko's own keycaps that they sell separately that everyone has probably bought at least once. These are $60 keycaps on their own. The keyboard right now is basically 72 bucks. Yeah, I know. These keycaps are very high quality PBT. The printing is spot on. It's ASA profile, which is Akko's own profile. They do a lot of things right here, but not only are the keycaps fantastic and they sound good, but the switches are also Akko's own switches, which are at this point a kind of legendary budget switch. If anyone's getting into the custom mechanical keyboard community and they're going to buy a budget switch, most likely they are going to get at least one set of Akko keycaps. Now for the switch options, you get jelly pinks or jelly purples. Now the jelly purples are going to be a tactile switch with a fairly heavy bump, but this is more of an enthusiast tactile bump. So if you used a brown switch before, this is not what that is. This is a much more refined bump, and it actually is tactile. So if you like tactiles, that's a great tactile. And if you like linears, the jelly pinks are very, very, very smooth with a polycarbonate top and bottom housing. A great switch overall, a great switch that you can lube and you don't even have to do anything else. This also comes in 3 different colorways, which is black and cyan, black and gold, and then you get kind of a pink colorway. But I think the black and gold is my favorite. That just looks, it just looks clean. You might think, oh, we're done. Well, we're not. The case is very solid. It's a 2-piece plastic shell that snaps together, but the fit and finish is very, very good. No creaking, no bending. It's a very solid. Now you might think, okay, well that's it. They can't pack much more value into this. Well, you're wrong. You get a battery. This is Bluetooth and it's got a 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle, which means you can game on this thing, which is just ridiculous for this price point, and all of the custom mechanical keyboard style things like the keycaps, the switches, the overall design. This is also fully hot swappable with 3 and 5 pin switches. Now the only thing you're not really getting here is south-facing LEDs. I mean, for the price, that is amazing, which is obviously why it is one of the most recommended keyboards of all time. But now, instead of being basically 90 bucks, $71.99. A fantastic time to buy a 3068. But let's move on to the number 1 best budget mechanical keyboard for early access Prime deals. That is the Redragon K530 Pro. This is probably the best mechanical keyboard to get into mechanical keyboards, period. It's a 60% form factor, but they basically do everything right for the price here. Now on Amazon, this says it typically retails for $69.99. I don't really think that's true. I'm pretty sure I see this most of the time for about 60 bucks. However, it is currently on sale for $43.99, and it is definitely not that price most of the time. That is a great price to get in. If you want a 60% keyboard, well, this is the best one to get into the game with. I recommend the heck out of this because of the fantastic build quality. It's got a single plastic shelf for the bottom, which makes it very easy to mod. It's got a very, very solid metal plate. It's Bluetooth wireless with a 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle. So if you want to game with this thing, you absolutely can, and I do. But not only that, this was the first Redragon mechanical keyboard to become fully hot swappable with 3 and 5 pin switches. That's like unheard of. No one was expecting it, but they brought it to this. So it's fully hot swappable. You can upgrade this thing as much as you want in the future and put any switch you want in this. You can also get this in white, or you can get this in black, and you have a choice between blue, brown, or red switches, but you can also put any switch you want in this keyboard, which is absolutely what you should do because, I mean, yes. Then you get per key RGB lighting, which is not just like, oh, it's per key RGB lighting. No, this is like one of the brightest mechanical keyboards out there, especially for this price point. I don't know how they put everything into one, but they do it. The stabilizers also out of the box don't sound terrible, but they do sound a little bit rattly. But I will say, after modding, these can sound really, really good. So as for modding, well, this is a great keyboard to do it on. It's also a great travel keyboard. It's a great keyboard out of the box. And really, that's why it's in the #1 spot. For $43.99, this is a ridiculously good keyboard. And if you're new to mechanical keyboards, definitely one that you should heavily consider. Again, if you want to check out any of the 5 early access Prime mechanical keyboard deals, Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. It's 4:20 a.m. right now. I am exhausted, but I hope that I helped you find your mechanical keyboard for this early access Prime deals. All right, this is Consumer Tech Review, and I'll see you guys later. I'm going to bed.